Hello and welcome to Screen Views. I'm Dave.
I'm James.
And this is the weekly podcast where we give our views on a film and TV show.
Each episode is unscripted, unedited, so anything can happen. Listeners should be aware that we do include spoilers, so feel free to fast forward, rewind, or simply buckle up and enjoy a somewhat coherent conversation.
Our podcast is based on the idea that there's no such thing as a bad movie. Therefore, for every review, we'll give a recommendation instead of a rating.
But first up, we're going to have a quick discussion about what we talked about last week to see if our opinions have changed.
Hello.
Hello,
yes. James.
Yeah, we're back with vengeance.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is, we think, episode 7?
Yes.
We've done so many, we've lost count.
Welcome to the next episode.
Yes. Yeah. New episode and a new format.
Sort of, yeah. It's not changing completely. It's still going to be, for people who like our old format, you can still watch it. You can still listen to it pretty much the same way. We're just going to be separating the film and TV out.
Yeah. So one episode each week for film, one episode each week for TV.
It does mean we're going to have to lose some funky names, which I'm a bit
yeah,
because we have a little bit of fun trying to come up with how to merge the names together, and there's like Love and the Black Panther and The Quiet Divorce and so but hey ho.
Well, I think this way people can access the podcast a bit better than before, because if you've seen a TV show, you can click on the TV show. If you've seen a film, you can click on the film. Yeah. If you've seen both, you can click on both.
If I think of an amazing name, I'm still going to say it's probably the name of both episodes. Like to say, if you go over to the next at the end of this podcast, we'll probably mention what we're going to do in the TV one. If some weeks if I think of like a perfect name.
Yeah, we can still talk about it.
If you create art, you have to show it. You have to express it, Ben.
I think so, yeah. Expressing your podcast naming art abilities to the world, James. Yeah. I think that's important.
Express yourself.
Yeah. It's almost like somebody should write a song about that.
Yeah.
Be a good topic for a song.
Yeah, and they should really stretch out the word express yourself. Like, express yourself.
Yes.
I think, just to stretch it out, because that's the most important word.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Okay. So last week, shall we? Yeah. So obviously, with the new format, we're just going to talk about the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society.
Yeah. Oh, it's so they brought that film out at the right time.
Yeah.
Because
you're eating potato peel pies a lot now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's potato peel pie season, in case you didn't know, people.
Well, I love cinema. And I love going to the cinema, watching multiple different stuff. But we're going to be talking about a film today, which is quite big, which is just drowned out all like the little small screenings for like small films in our local area. So really glad I got the opportunity to go see this when I could. So if you live near Central and you want to watch these smaller films, you're more likely to be able to watch these smaller films. So if you are interested by the Guernsey Potato Peel Pie Society,
well, out of London as well, like you can probably find, because if there's people listening who are not based in London, they might, smaller picture house cinemas, like chains like that. There's like independent cinemas that play the smaller.
Oh, hopefully,
films,
yeah. I mean, I come from my experience of cinema. In my hometown, we had a nice little like 35mm like cinema, and then it's now like an Odeon, a digital Odeon, and it will only play like the big movies.
Yeah.
In my hometown, and then moved to Birmingham, and obviously Birmingham's a city, and you can hunt out the films, and now live in London. So my experience outside of my little town is two big cities, where you have to go to a certain location to watch the bigger movies. So, If you have an opportunity, if you want to watch these smaller movies, don't be disgruntled by not being in your local cinema. Go out and see it. So, anyway, the film,
Yes, your opinions. Have you?
They haven't changed. I haven't had an urge to see it again. It's a film which quite content. I'll probably want to see clips again. There's certain moments in the film which I still think are really funny.
Yeah.
And I think if I saw a clip of it, I'd be like, kind of that'd be kind of funny. Can be nice to see. So it does have a rewatch clip ability to it, but in terms of actually going out and actually seeing the whole film again, possibly not. If we got like a roast dinner on the go, and it's a Sunday afternoon, and it's on the TV, yeah, I'll watch it. But
do you enjoy a roast, James?
Oh yeah, I can do it. I can
Yeah.
do a proper good roast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you like a good roasting? Do you like a good roasting?
To get the roast potatoes, get the roast chicken. So the answer to your question is yes.
Yes.
I love a good roast.
What about a verbal roasting?
Verbal roasting.
Not so keen on that.
We talk about chicken, we talk about the roast beef. Yeah, we can verbally enjoy the collection of food in a roast. Yeah.
But the roasting's a thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Well,
if you roast someone.
Yeah.
See, like
you're trying to knock me down, but I was trying to keep up the level.
But I'm gonna get to it, James, because last week I might have suggested that the film wasn't shot in Guernsey. And what did you say, James?
I said, I don't know. I don't even recorded it, so I don't think any record.
We need to listen back. Well, I'm here to tell you that it wasn't shot in Guernsey. A lot of it.
What?
Yeah.
What's the point in the whole Guernsey advert we saw beforehand?
I hate to
fake news.
Yeah. Well, this is a film. Like I should have said last week, like when I said, "Oh, I'm sure I've been there," and you were like, "What, to Guernsey?" And I was like, "No, it was shot elsewhere."
I don't know where it is. It's like, it's in Guernsey. Obviously.
But it was shot where I've been in Clovelly in Devon.
Damn.
So I've been there, and some of it was shot in Bideford.
Don't watch it. It's fake. It's film live.
Now my opinion has completely changed.
Yeah. There's only 2 potato pies in it. It's not shot in Guernsey, and we only see 2. We literally see club meetings. I think the whole thing is a lie. But damn.
Well, I suppose yeah. So it's interesting because my family are Cornwall, Devon based, and a lot of it was shot in Devon, and apparently the town where I'm from, Lily James was like landing on the cricket pitch in a helicopter, and everybody's talking about it, and my mum was saying, actually, she was saying that she went to the cinema and she could hear murmurs of people talking about how that's not in Guernsey, it's in Bideford, so I think like lots of different sections. I don't know if there was some of it that was shot in Guernsey, but I know that a lot of it was shot in like sort of Devon area.
Yeah, damn.
And Clovelly in particular is like this small town that's been well preserved, so I can see why they've used that port, the port scene, and where they go up the hill and stuff. That was the scene where I was like, I'm sure I've been there. Damn. And that is Clovelly in Devon. So I think I can see why they did it, because it's been preserved really well in terms of time, and the other thing is as well, and like I think it's that thing about film as well and production design. A lot of the time, like the majority of those people watching the film are not going to know that it wasn't, like it's only people from maybe Guernsey who are going, I've never been there in Guernsey, or people who live in Devon going, "Oh, that's my high street," or whatever.
This could have been like a cult classic there, and like people go, "Oh my god, we have to go visit." And like, this ain't anywhere. Like,
well, yeah, I mean, but
you know what films are gonna blow up, do you? Like sometimes these smaller films.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of tourism, you would have thought it would have been in Guernsey's interest to try and get it filmed in Guernsey, but you don't know the process behind the cost and of getting to
that advert before the film told me that experience the experience of Guernsey where this film is based on. And it's like that whole advert of like, come to Guernsey, look at all these things,
shameless marketing.
Yeah,
James.
Right.
Yeah. So, but it's film. It's make believe.
Yeah.
So if you believe it, you believed it was in Guernsey. I was not 100% sure because I've been there.
Yeah.
So I think if I hadn't been to Clovelly, I wouldn't have known that it wasn't shot in Guernsey. So at the end of the day, what does it matter?
Like, fact of the week. So next time, like, you're in a pub quiz and they say, "Okay, guys, and the next question is about
yeah, where was the Guernsey? Yeah, not in Guernsey, people.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. But in terms of opinions, like, even with that knowledge, I don't think my opinion of the film has changed. No. I think it's worth a watch. Yeah. I think that it's, like you say, it's got its moments. Some like very, very interesting moments, very clever moments, very funny moments, very emotional moments. Yeah, it ticks a lot of boxes, I think. Yeah. And so I don't think that has really changed. And I think I felt like I was a bit down on it, maybe a little bit. I think, because I was saying that Their Finest was better, but I don't think this was a bad movie. Yeah. Well, because there's no such thing as a bad movie, but in comparison to some of the stuff that we've seen, it is, it's just that over the course of, I think, April, as we discussed in the minisode, it kind of like we saw better things. Yeah. I think Their Finest as a whole complete film is better. However, I just think when the characters in this movie are given moments, their moments shine. I can't really think of Their Finest and the shining moments of each of the actors. However, I enjoyed all the actors anyway. But I can't think of Their Finest again. Oh, the scene with that guy who only did that. Yeah. I can't that scene doesn't come out to me, but like I say, the whole film was good. So it's quite easily forgettable, isn't it? And which is a shame, because like you don't want to just forget something that you've seen quite quickly. But as time is going by, I'm forgetting more and more, and I'm just obsessing about
called old age, mate.
Yes. Yeah, I mean that goes without saying. But there was just the bit where she slides the box across the table. I don't think I'll forget that, because that was like, I think the Foley was. I don't think it was bad Foley necessarily. It was just like a bit too loud. Or did you think they'd done that deliberately to make it a bit more awkward?
I don't. I just think the fact that that's my favourite scene in the movie, because it's just funny, and it just gets you like 1-2 punch. That's sort of like. In all, that is a positive scene more than a negative scene. Even though that happened, so I'll forget about that, because I'll always remember the other stuff in that scene. But if the scene was quite boring and the scene did nothing, then I think I'll always remember that. I think I can't really think of the noise, but I remember us both laughing at it. Yeah. So we're both laughing at the film in that moment, but a few moments later on.
I don't know whether that was interesting. It'd be interesting to find out if that was deliberate or not. But it's interesting how a fairly inconsequential scene in terms of the grand narrative is both our favourite scene in the whole film. So that's quite interesting.
I'm hoping it was written, but it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of it was improv. That scene. I know. There's just something really nice, unexpected about it. I mean, I just know each beat of the movie when I'm watching the movie. But that scene, I was just like, the beats with they set up the scene like a normal, like the scene which you knew what was going to happen. But then, I know, it's nice, it's quirky. Yeah. And I appreciate it making me laugh at that moment.
Okay.
But
so still worth a watch, but maybe there's other stuff out there that we prefer. That doesn't mean everybody. There's a film for everyone. Okay, so shall we
Avengers
talk about Infinity War?
Sorry, we didn't announce that yet.
Just like Avengers.
That was the big one this week.
Infinity
Wars, and we are going to be talking.
I think we need to preempt the spoilers on this one. If that's what you were going to say.
This is it's a film which is so I know people go on about don't spoil it. Like I bumped into someone that we both used to know, and they had a friend with them. I didn't know the friend, and basically I said to a common friend, I said, "Oh, by the way, we just watched this movie," and the friend just turned around and said, "Don't say anything." like a Batman voice. And I go, whoa, whoa, whoa! I don't know you, but I've just felt the full force of your aggression. It is kind of nice going in here and going into the movie and not really knowing anything, just going on like a fresh take.
Yes, so I managed to avoid spoilers. So I think if there's any listeners out there who do not want spoilers for the Avengers Infinity Wars, you should probably turn the podcast off now and then come back when you've seen the movie and see if you agree with the kind of things that we're going to say. Because I don't think we can discuss this film without spoilers, and I don't think we're going to hold back. So if you are afraid of spoilers or you don't want to hear spoilers, like I say, now is a good time to switch off.
Yeah, especially this film.
But come back.
Yeah, this film is slightly different because of this isn't a film leading up to an event and then something happening, and that's the thing that's going to be spoiled. I think throughout the beat of this film, things happen which can be spoiled. So it's not about like, talk about it, but don't spoil the ending. That's not really what everybody's talking about, like in terms of spoilers. I think there's beats all the way through it. So
I think as the Marvel expert in the room, James, you're going to have to talk me through a lot of this as well.
Okay.
So I think there's going to be a lot of learning in this review from my side of what is going on. Like, so
we go into it.
Yeah. So I think I think we need to give. So we've given 2 warnings. I think that a third warning is appropriate for this. If you don't want spoilers, turn off now. Yeah,
because we don't want to be the people to like, even when walking down the street, or like even when talking to somebody like, in the street, I'm really careful about how loud I am. Yeah. We work in education, and like if I'm having a conversation with somebody about it, I'll make sure there's no one else, no other students around. Yeah, because I think people at any age can enjoy this stuff.
But like students are pretty good at spoiling stuff.
Yeah,
and it was that like, you know, a student comes into the room, they go, "Oh, I know who dies first," and it's like, well, now you've told me that more than one person is gonna die. You have just spoiled something for me.
By the way, we did successfully give 3 spoilers before we said that.
3 warnings.
3 warnings, yeah.
3 warnings before we gave our first spoiler away.
Even though we are,
so if you're still listening, and that is a spoiler for you, then that's on you, not us.
Yeah, cool. Okay,
now come back after you've switched off.
Cool.
Please.
See you later. Bye.
Is that the Hulk on his spaceship again? Oh, see you later, guys.
Yeah.
I think I should say as well, I did watch Thor and I did pay for it.
Ah, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So I was up to date with.
Oh, nice.
Ragnaroking.
Yeah. So have you seen every other movie then?
No, I haven't seen Ant-Man.
Which is with this film, you didn't really need to.
Irrelevant.
But you did watch Civil War, which was kind of a nice introduction into Ant-Man.
Yes.
So I would say going into this film, in terms of the stuff, like, because a friend of mine said, like, I haven't seen any of the films. Can you let me know which films I should watch in order to get into this? And I was like, so at first I scaled it down to 5 movies, and then we did like a super duper like miniature sort of like. So if you want the minimal to watch to really get to know this film, I would say Civil War, because it introduces Spider-Man. It gives a good introduction into Ant-Man. You get to see Vision in there. You get to see quite a lot of heroes in Civil War. It's quite a good film.
Yeah.
I would say what else was there? I would say
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Gone in the Galaxy.
The first one or the second one?
I don't know. I wouldn't say Gone in the Galaxy. I would also say the first Avengers.
Surely
I'm saying the super duper. There's some people who haven't seen any of the films. They want to go to see this film at the weekend. Yeah. They want to watch 5 movies.
Yeah, but surely. But I'm just saying that from the point of view that the bad, what's he called? The bad guy in Infinity Wars.
Yeah, you got a point. Yeah,
he's like
quite
well connected to
the first Avengers movie.
Okay.
Cap 3 Civil War. You've got also the Gone in the Galaxy.
Yeah. Then didn't you say the Black Panther trailer?
I'd say the Black Panther trailer. Because that's, and like literally 3 films is sort of like already a lot for people, and also the Doctor Strange trailer.
Right.
If you can watch Doctor Strange as well, then that's important in terms of an explanation.
Yeah.
To one of the stones, but
yeah.
So
So in terms of basic premise for this film, we've got the bad guy. What's he called?
Thanos. Yeah.
Is it Thanos? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, Thanos.
Yeah. So he wants to collect all the Infinity Stones that exist in the universe.
Yeah. To be able to quickly wipe out half the universe.
Yeah. So it's like population control.
Yeah. It's quite interesting. Like with the comic books, Thanos is trying to win over death. He loves death. Death is a woman in the comic books.
Oh, right.
And trying to win over death, and so he collects the stones to show how strong he is and try and win her affection. Which is, this film took a slightly different route.
I think probably a sensible one there.
Yeah. And but yeah, because a lot of people, because Death is also a character in Deadpool as well, and Death is quite a big character with Thanos, a big character with Deadpool.
Yeah.
But
what
sensible they didn't.
What you were saying the other day was quite interesting, which was that the Marvel film universe doesn't include X-Men. Right?
Yeah. So
therefore excludes Deadpool as well.
Yeah. So Deadpool's So I think but in terms of like how they approach Deadpool, they didn't include Death, and how they approach Thanos, they didn't include Death. I think that's a clever decision on both Fox and Marvel. Decide, okay, so we're going to base it on these comic books. However, we're not going to include this character because it's harder for people to relate to it.
Okay.
We'll just say generally if we enjoyed the film.
Where do we start?
Yeah.
Where do you start with this?
I
mean, I think from my point of view, a good way to describe this film is relentless. It's pretty relentless.
Actually, yeah, I think even I think that's a really good word to say to it in describing how the journey through the film is sometimes relentless, and it's sort of like you go from one scene to another scene, and so I think you even forget about scenes. I watched it even the second time. It's like it only juggles two balls at the same time. Which I noticed. So, like, obviously, there's lots of characters in this. There's lots of characters with 10 years building up.
Yeah.
There's been 18 films. Oh no, 7. I think there's been 18 films altogether. This is the 19th film. But it's like
that's a lot in 10 years. They've crammed a lot in, haven't they?
Yeah. But like, I think So sometimes there's so much going on. Sometimes you forget about one storyline. But you don't forget it enough to have to pick it up later on. Sort of like, oh, it's these guys. Okay, I remember what they're doing now.
Yeah. I mean, I think they have done a good job at because I think there was a lot of talk about the amount of characters that were in this film.
Yeah,
and obviously that come with the Marvel films. That comes a lot of big names in terms of actors. But I think I was quite impressed with how good a balance they kept by being able to include the characters and it not feel too sort of like they were giving people too forced.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got to get this character's moment in. We've got to get that character's moment in, and we've got to squeeze this in and that. It sort of ebbed and flowed quite well, and it didn't feel like they were trying to push through. Okay, we've got to try and. It didn't feel rushed, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think one thing which everyone has to take into account in this movie, no matter how great people keep talking about how it is, I think it's a really good film. Just remember that it is a collection of films. And it's like if you really like Cheese and the Crisps and you buy a big bag of cheese and you buy a multi-bag, and then sometimes you're disappointed by I didn't get enough cheese and the crisps. So like your favorite character will show up and they will do stuff and you'll really enjoy them. But let's say you go in there and you're just like you're a super Captain America fan and you're disappointed how you didn't. This film is an Avengers film. I'm kind of happy that with Civil War could have easily been an Avengers film. However, they called it Captain America Civil War, and Captain America was the main character you followed. And so you can't go into the Captain America Civil War film and think, oh, I wish I saw more of this character, or this character, or this character.
Yeah,
Because they've announced with this one, you get a bit of everybody. It's a bit of everything. Yeah, I thought they did. I thought it was good. Shall we go into more detail? I'm trying not to go into detail.
No,
yet,
we
but,
need. I think we need with this one. We need to go into detail.
Yeah,
and I think that's what part of our podcast is about.
Yeah,
like, I think I feel like last week we were both holding back a little bit here and there, and I think let's just forget we've given 3 warnings, James. So
we open up.
Yeah, I mean, like, honestly, I don't know where to start.
Well, there's the Marvel logo. You got bits of Black Panther in there, which is kind of cool. But the first time we've not had any music over the Marvel logo, and you've got the voiceover from the ship at the end of Thor, and it's a distress call about like, oh my god, we're just civilians here. We're not here to we're not a weapons ship. Stop attacking us.
Right.
And so we hear the beginnings of the attack on the ship. Now we see the beginnings of the attack of the ship, but then we skip to when the ship is defeated. Yeah, and they're all on there. Loads of people are down. Loads of people are crazy. We've no reference to how long this took. Looking at it a second time, there's no reference to how long it took. And
definitely, yeah.
Like, because you've got no perspective, you can see bodies. Like, you see bodies on the ground, but I found it really difficult to really work out how big people were in comparison. You saw like these 4 CG characters, and the CG characters in this movie didn't feel like a heavy CG character base. I really like the you obviously see Thanos, and you've got the 4 children of Thanos there, and like all 4 followers of Thanos there, and one of them is like a big hulking sort of creature, and we don't really see that much detail on his face. But the other 3 characters, I think I was really impressed by how much detail we saw in their faces. They weren't just like mindless CG monsters. I
mean, I think the CGI throughout this film was like pretty crazy good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There was maybe 1 or 2 moments that I wasn't sure about, but I might be mixing those up with Thor, actually. But
I will say this: I've watched this film in IMAX, 3D, and I watched it in 2D. This is the first time I will say you get a different experience with IMAX than you do with 2D, with a standard screen.
Yeah,
you get a completely different time, because in terms of like, because like
in a good way, or a bad way, or just different.
In a good way, I prefer it in IMAX. I'm not saying 3D.
3. Yeah. We need to be specific here.
Yeah,
don't we?
I think you're gonna find it really hard to find just an IMAX screening. They're going to have IMAX 3D, but if you can find just an IMAX screening.
So the BFI IMAX is a good place to start, is it?
That was IMAX 3D. Oh, I love the BFI IMAX because it's the biggest screen in Britain.
So have you seen it just in IMAX then?
No. I'd like to. If I get the opportunity.
So maybe we need to track that down.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't, like you were saying, it was shot in IMAX.
Yeah, it was all shot in IMAX. And usually with the Batman movies, you've got certain scenes that are shot in IMAX. And certain scenes would open up and they'll go, and the frame would change. Because someone had to tell me, I really want to see that in IMAX. It was shot in IMAX. And I had to realise, because it was all IMAX, there's no change. It was really hard for me to notice the value of IMAX until I saw the 2D version.
Right.
Not 2D, the standard version. And basically, you don't really get the scope of how large the characters are. And when the characters are moving in the 2D, in the standard screen, the whole screen is moving. The whole screen is filled, and everybody's moving, and there's not that much headspace in any of the characters at all. But when you watch it in IMAX, there is a lot of there's headspace, and there's
Do you mean headspace as in between the top of their head and the frame?
Yeah. And I do not want to see it again in 2D. However, there's I keep saying 2D in a standard screen. I don't want to see it again in a standard screen. I only want to see it again in an IMAX screen. However, I think most people enjoy it in. It's only because I've had the cream. I don't want to go back to milk. I've had the better. So now I compare. I don't want to go back. And I noticed it from the first scene. From the first scene, I realized, it just didn't feel the same. It didn't look the same, and I realized I'm just not seeing as much.
Yeah.
It's but you can actually go out there and you can watch the trailers side by side, the IMAX trailer and the normal stand definition trailer, and have a look yourself and see if you don't notice the difference at all.
Can you do that on YouTube?
Yeah, the YouTube.
You don't need to be in the cinema to
you don't need to see
the difference.
Yeah, they released the frame size of a standard screen frame size.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, because I've obviously seen it in just standard and not IMAX, so I've not got that comparison.
Yeah.
So that wasn't an issue for me throughout the whole film.
I think if you haven't seen it in IMAX, you won't even notice it, and you will enjoy the film. But because I've seen it in IMAX and I've gone back to standard screen, I think that's why it points out to me so much.
Yeah.
So the first film we get to see Thor and Loki feels like straight after Thor Ragnarok. And it all kicks off from there. We get to hear the voice of like one of his older followers, and he can move stuff with his mind, and like he's like, rejoice, like you have been saved by Thanos, and you have been, and you're hearing the words, but you're not really understanding what they mean. And I think that's kind of cool. The film didn't explain stuff before they do stuff. So you see this, you hear a speech at the beginning, and the first one was I didn't really think about it. But then once you've seen the film, you go back to the speech and think, okay. I can kind of understand what's happened here, because they don't actually explain what's happened.
Yeah, well, they sort of do later on, don't they?
They sort of do.
You get the whole ethnic.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose it's not ethnic cleansing. It's just genocide. Is that the definition of genocide? What is? Yeah. What is Thanos?
It's half.
Is it just like?
Sorry.
When you're trying to because his thing is that he goes to a planet, doesn't he? That's
he takes
like overpopulated, and then he kills half the population at random.
They kind of say genocide, but sort of genocide is everything.
No, I think So I don't think genocide's not linked to race, is it? Genocide is just killing a lot of people.
I think it's the same. I think it is a race. I think it is a group of that genocide is sort of like
okay.
But so he basically conquers a planet and then splits it to half, and then kills half of them. Now, what's interesting about with the Thor one, you assume they're all dead. You assume like all Asgardians are dead. But knowing what Thanos does, then surely in the logic he would have taken over the ship, spared half of them, and whoever remains are going to die.
Yeah,
that's his logic, and it also
although it seemed like if anybody was in the way of him getting an Infinity Stone, then like he wasn't holding back.
I don't agree. I don't agree. I do. I know what you mean. I watched it twice to get this opinion, but I don't agree. I think he only kills with his moral code.
Right.
Because
so in that logic, then he should have saved half the ship and half the
and like Thor later on does actually say half my race are dead.
Oh, does he?
And he only said it through one line. So it's only so your impression of the beginning is they're all dead.
Yeah.
And then you get to know Thanos.
Well,
and
at least
then Thor says a
but
line.
as long as they explain that, which is
I kind of like it because it's not patronising. You haven't been spoon fed.
Yeah.
It's only because I've listened now. I've watched it twice. I'm listening now and thinking, okay, cool. So a lot of the characters that I like in Thor Ragnarok, they might be out there. There's a 50-50 chance that they're out there, and yes, that's kind of cool. That's kind of nice to know.
Yeah.
And like me as somebody who's like I've listened. That's my reward. I've paid attention to the film, and that's my reward. I like these little rewards you pick up on. We get to see Loki again. And again, Loki's a trickster god. Is he? Whose side is he on? We don't know. and I personally get really annoyed with Loki's character quite a lot of the time. I know everybody loves him, and he's like amazing.
So you're glad that he
finally
met his maker?
Who knows? Who knows? I mean, like, there's people like debating online because he said to Thor, like, "I promise you, we will, the light will shine on us again." It's as if he knew something. Well, Loki couldn't think he'll be killing, because even if he kills Thanos, his troops are there. Loki's dead. There's no way he'll.
Yeah, I know. I didn't. To be honest, I didn't get that bit. That him attacking Thanos and was ever gonna like work.
Yeah. Although it's So
were they just like we're done with Loki. He can just die.
Yeah. There's also
just crush his head.
And I kind of like, it was just brutal. And like because when you work with ratings, you've got like, there's only so much you can do, and so it's sort of like, when you saw that scene at the beginning, you're thinking, okay,
it was a 12A, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, this is at the. I think we should probably say that it's safe to say that it's at the top end of what a 12A is. I mean, like somebody was saying, I think it was one of my students actually, that was saying that Dark Knight is a 12A.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you look at some of the themes and the kind of violence in that, it's interesting actually, because I think I came out of this film with a similar sort of feeling to that, which we can maybe talk about a bit later, because I feel like we're sort of going through the film in chronological order at the moment.
Yeah, yeah.
But there are, I think it's safe to say it's at the topper end of the 12A bracket, because there are a lot of adult, like, brutal moments, which is a good way to describe it.
Yeah,
and like we were in a screening, it was a 6 p.m. screening. There were a lot of young kids there.
Yeah.
And I could just sense around me that they were not coping very well with a lot of the things in the film. Like for me in particular, because there were a lot of, I could feel the unease in the cinema that it was creating through moments like killing Loki in the first few minutes. I don't think that was one that made me notice them. It was more towards the end, but I think that.
Although,
I had a problem.
What do you how do you feel about that in terms of, like, because they've had, it's a bit like because it's a bit like the Harry Potter effect. I mean, can you if, because people have been watching watching it for 10 years. There's like 10 years of films. There's 19 films.
Well, I think
if a kid can get to this stage, then surely they're merit and being mature enough to watch this.
Yeah, and I think that's what you argue from a ratings point of view, and I think I agree with, is that you've got a generation of people who have grown up with these films, and therefore they are probably old enough to go and watch it. However, I think if there's some quite young kids who are quite new to the Marvel,
but I like Spider-Man Daddy.
Is that your child voice?
Yeah, it's my inner child voice which comes out. Like, it's like when Hulk gets angry, he comes to the Hulk. When I get hungry, I just turn into like so in the canteen, I'm like, I'll have some sausages and some mash, please. You don't want to make me hungry.
I feel like this is taking a weird turn.
No, but totally agree. It's just you've got also, there's no rush to watch this film. Because a lot of people, like a lot of friends of mine, saying like, "Oh, what do I need to watch to get the
avoid spoilers?"
Yeah, or not avoid spoilers, but be able to watch this film now, because people want to watch it now because it's an event.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, if this film has got you excited about watching the Marvel Universe, then go back and watch the Marvel films. Enjoy them. Take your time. Because I recommended Civil War to somebody, so to get them through it. And they turned around and said, well, I really liked Ant-Man, and I really like Spider-Man, and I really like Black Panther, and I haven't suggested they watch these films because they want to. I'm thinking, well, if you know that, then just slow down slow down and just watch and just
chill out a bit.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's that thing that, but I can understand people wanting to be up with popular culture because, like you say, this is an event.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if this film becomes the highest grossing ever.
Damn, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if, because like Star Wars is there now, wasn't it? Force Awakens, I think, is on top.
Not sure. I know it was.
So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that it takes over, and so I think people, is that like fear of FOMO, fear of missing out. So I think that maybe takes over a little bit, and like people panic and they're like, oh, I need to know what people are talking about. I don't want to be spoilt for me. So I think your little cut down how to get up to speed quite quickly of the 3 movies plus a couple of trailers is maybe the shortcut. But yeah, I agree. Like, why not explore the universe first and wait for it to come out on, and
if you are doing a shortcut and you really enjoy the characters, then I know.
Well, I mean, then that's great because you can go and see Infinity Wars and then you can go back and learn about a lot of the characters' backstory. I mean, the one thing. So when we in some ways, like, I know it's jumping ahead to the sort of recommendation. Yeah. But like, I don't think I would necessarily recommend this film for somebody who hasn't got prior Avengers knowledge, because it does like you say, it doesn't patronise. It doesn't do that annoying thing of like trying to be a self-contained movie and ignore what's come before. Yeah. And so I think you probably want to have that a little bit of prior knowledge going into this film.
Yeah. The and like in terms of like what they've done before. So when Thor, Loki's died. It just shows how like people love Thor, Ragnarok, and they think it's a great film and all that. I just think it was okay. I think it was amazing.
I agree with that.
And I just didn't really like the fact that they showed no really emotional reaction to his dad dying, or like Thor was just like I like the idea of like you're hiding your feelings with comedy, but don't hide it from the audience. Yeah. By all means, have him be funny and have him hide his feelings with comedy with the rest of the other characters.
Yeah.
But we the audience follow him around at all times. I really appreciate it if we just showed a little bit of emotion. And I felt like for 5 seconds of this move of him reacting to Loki was more than all the emotions of him reacting to his father in Thor.
But what I think what's interesting is that I think at like one point in this movie, I thought, oh, actually, Thor is one of my favourite comic book heroes. But then I did also think, there was. So now that you've explained that half of his people are still alive, that makes a little bit more sense. But I was thinking that they'd been wiped out, and I was like, well, hang on, why isn't he mourning for his people? Yeah. Because they made it all about family at one point, right? And they made a joke out of it as well, like, oh, I killed my father, oh, I had to kill this, and it was it was funny, but I also didn't like the whole Thor film was about saving his people, and then they get like wiped out in the first like 30 seconds of this film, and then you just sort of think, well, like what was the point? But now that you've explained that half of them are possibly still alive,
there's also a really nice, it's skipping ahead a little bit, but a really nice scene with him and Rocket, and he's saying how like and he's basically opening up without actually realizing he's opening up, and it's like saying, well, like hatred and revenge are great motivators, and like I'm going to use this, and like Rocket's like, this ain't good. I think like so great. You think it's good now, but like, it's just I don't know, it's.
I did like how he calls him Rabbit.
Yeah, he just kept calling him rabbit, and
It's quite funny.
in terms of like, so like we've got so obviously with Loki dies, and then
I feel like we're just describing the film now.
yeah. Well, I'm just trying to, because there's so many scenes to go over.
Yeah, I know, it's like
so much
trying to
go
get
over,
your head
so
around everything. It's hard. It's a hard one. We could be here a while.
Yeah. So like
so much happens, and you're like that's where the relentless thing comes from it, because you're like, I haven't got over the last scene, and now something's happening in this scene, and I'm like, oh my god, like I can't get over this scene. Now something else is happening, like, and you just.
Well, it's also
in a good way.
There's like Thor and Thanos then fighting, but then that's interesting, and it's like, well, I thought
I like how the Hulk is in that scene as well.
And it's sort of so nice that Loki.
That I thought was really done really well, because we've seen the Hulk. We know how powerful the Hulk is.
Yeah,
we know that he's, when he's the Hulk, he's like near unstoppable.
Yeah,
and then like. Thanos is just like, he's just like, you're just like.
Yeah, I really like the way Thanos lets him sort of.
Yeah, get a few hits in.
It's a bit like when you see a kitten attacking a big cat, and the big cat lets the kitten sort of attack it for a while.
Or a dog. A cat attacking a dog, and the dog is just like.
Yeah, just for a while, but he's gonna bark at you. He's gonna. I thought that's kind of cool, and well, it really does establish how powerful Thanos is at the start of the movie. So, like, as an audience member, you literally go, "Oh crap! Like, this is bad." Like, you get the sense of threat is there from the start, isn't it? And the taking my theory of Thanos and how he's let half them go. Everybody who's still on the ship, they are meant to die. That's his way. That's what he's going to do. So it sort of like adds a more of a it adds an interest when Hulk gets saved. And Thanos like, you shouldn't have done that. It sort of like adds like another layer to it. He's not saying that because he made him angry. He's saying that like, no, that's not the right thing to do. And I've got a system here, and you shouldn't have done that.
Right.
And also, if you think about when I think about how he's going to kill half the people and everybody left who's going to die. The fact that Loki died at that moment doesn't really matter. Thanos was always going to kill him. Everybody who's left is always going to die.
Yeah, right.
And so I watched it for a second time, and I'm looking at him killing Yondu, because Idris Elba does not want to be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe anymore.
Right.
So I'm like Idris Elba going, "See you guys, thank you. I'm not here anymore."
Like, there was loads of students talking about how. So and so's out of a contract, so they're gonna die.
Yeah,
and like so and so's like.
Well, I just saw it on with Ragnarok. His role was super small.
Yeah,
it's sort of like there was so like in the Age of Ultron, there's a flash forward and Thor goes into this magical pool and gets to see the future, and Yondu is like talking about Ragnarok. Like, oh my god, Ragnarok is coming, and so from Age of Ultron, you get the feeling that he's going to be a big character in the Ragnarok film. But when the Ragnarok film comes along, you hardly see any Idris Elba.
Right.
And clearly he stepped down a little bit. So I was expecting him to go. Right. Purely from the writing, not because of contracts.
And not because he's black.
No.
I did think, for a second I was like, oh.
Yeah. I can play the card any time.
Like before Loki, he's like literally the first person that you see die in the film.
Yeah.
Like,
but like so like looking back a second time and how he kills Yondu and killed Loki separately, and they're both quite brutal. When I know they're gonna die anyway in his mind, it's sort of like there's hope by not knowing that he decided to kill them. There's hope for them. But now I know that they're going to die anyway because of his system. It's sort of like none of them had any hope to begin with. And like it was really nice. We saw the Purple Stone in Guardians of the Galaxy, and it can destroy matter. And so I like the fact that we know that once he uses the Purple Stone to destroy the ship, we already know what that does because we've had the Guardians of the Galaxy explain what that stone does.
Yeah, forgotten about that.
Yeah, but with with the Tesseract, which is the other stone he gets, and he puts on his glove.
Yeah.
Because I thought he could just teleport. I thought, oh, that was one of the powers that Thanos has. He can just teleport. But with the Tesseract, Tesseract can open ports between different
Worlds.
worlds. Yeah. So how Loki got to Earth in the first Avengers film was through the Tesseract.
Yeah.
So when he put the Tesseract on, and they all escaped through, they all teleported away, thinking, oh, he can only do that once he's got that stone. That can only happen once he's got that stone.
Right.
And so basically, he destroyed the ship, and then he teleported. Like, oh, cool. Okay, well, it just makes more logical sense now. And like I say, it's not spoon-fed, so I'm watching it a second time. And like, I didn't watch it the first time thinking, I don't understand. I just accepted it. But now watching it the second time, I'm thinking, I understand a bit more now. I kind of understand that. And so I kind of like the fact that you slowly get to see each stone and what each stone does. Which is, yeah, kind of cool. Kind of nice.
Yeah. We can talk about the stones. Do we want to talk about the stones in general?
Well, we'll get to each stone.
Yeah.
Talk about each stone.
Okay.
Yeah. And now obviously Hulk gets to go to Earth and meet Doctor Strange, who has the Green Stone. So already within like 5 minutes of the film, we're already 3 stones in. We now see 3 stones.
Yeah.
But Doctor Strange has like a third stone.
Well, and again, all the like. Because it does move through the paces quite quickly, doesn't it? It doesn't really sit anywhere for too long.
And this is like a hell of a 2 days, because I looked at it. It's like it's a 2 day span.
It's a lot of work. Thanos puts a lot of work in 2 days. Yeah, that's like a long shift.
Sitting on his ass for 10 years.
Yeah, and then he gets one stone, and then he's suddenly like, right.
Yeah. We also, a lot of people are upset because we don't actually see him go to Nova, because at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy, they store the stone on Nova Corps with Glenn Close. So where the main battle is at the end, they store that stone on that planet. But Thanos has the stone at the beginning of this film. So he
sorry, I'm lost.
So with the Guardians of the Galaxy film, with the first film, on like and Run the Accuser is coming down on the ship, and he's trying to get to the surface to destroy or land or everything on that world.
Right.
At the end, they manage to. Peter Quill saves the day with a dance-off, manages to get the stone, and they stole the stone with the military on that planet.
Right. Okay.
But at the beginning of this film, Thanos already has the stone.
Yeah.
He's been to that planet. He's already annihilated probably half the people there.
Yeah, but we don't see that.
We don't see that. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, it's a shame we don't see that." But then, you don't trust when you come out this film. You're not exactly thinking it was okay, but I wish there was more action.
Yeah, like
that's one thing.
One thing that you're guaranteed with this film is action.
Yeah,
and a lot of it.
But even in the talking scenes, it's so connected to the action.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes. Well,
I think yeah.
I thought like we get to the first big talky sort of scene is Doctor Strange, Tony Stark, and the Hulk. They get together.
Yeah.
And there's a big action sequence in New York, and Spider-Man comes along. I thought that scene was done really well. I thought it was a really interesting seeing the different powers work together. And I'm talking quite a lot. Sorry, if you got anything to say, do say.
No. This is your area of expertise. I'm just like along for the ride.
I thought, this scene that's a good way to good thing to say it. Like it's along for the ride, because this scene is one whole ride. Banner is there, but Thor will not come out anymore. And we get to see Banner and Thor interact with each other for the first time. We've not seen this before. So Banner will ask Thor something, and Thor will come out and give an answer. And so I thought that was kind of interesting, because we're not really seeing any interaction between Banner and Thor.
Really?
You okay?
I thought we see a lot of that in Ragnarok, don't we?
Well, they talk to it. It's like they're like silent partners.
Really?
Yeah, because Thor is Banner's Hulk has been there for a long time, and then Thor gets Banner to come back, and Banner's like, "Oh, what's going on? Well, how long have I been away for?" And then he's Banner the whole time until the end. He goes, "This is my superpower." Jumps off the ship onto the bridge, smacks her down to her, and then all of a sudden he becomes Hulk again. But in terms of like an interaction between Hulk and Banner talking, it's the first time
I didn't really get it. I thought there was. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, it's just interesting the way, because in the next movie, it's going to be interesting seeing Thor, and it's interesting seeing Hulk and Banner talk to each other, because, yeah.
Yeah. But was this film ticking enough boxes for you in terms of like the sort of fan aspect that you wanted to see?
Yes, sort of. So you got the New York scene where Spider-Man comes in, and that's all great. And then we go back up to space, and the Guardians are Anthony the Stretch Goal, and the Guardians meet Thor. I love the Guardians. I think they're amazing. James Gunn even comes in to help direct and approves the writing of the Guardians. But when the Guardians met Thor, and it was like they were joking around, there were the interaction. I just felt that's when the moment. That's a few times where the film just paused, and I was just thinking the jokes you aren't joking around. You're just pausing. You completely pause the movie, and I think the really good thing about Guardians of the Galaxy is that there are jokes as well as the movie just keeps going and going and going. But I felt like this whole interaction between Thor and the Guardians, I just felt like this is just, you just paused me out of the movie now.
Oh really?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's.
Is that because it was too jovial, that scene?
I found it. Well, I thought it was the Guardians, but then there's later on when Thor goes off with Rocket and Groot. I got some of the same feelings, and maybe they just don't gel. Maybe why do I feel like this is paused? Why is this slowed down for me? And why do I feel? I mean, like don't get me wrong, some of the jokes were funny.
Yeah, but maybe that's leading up to that little special moment that you were talking about with Thor and Rocket, where they talk about feelings and.
Do you know when the joke goes on a little bit too long?
Yeah.
I feel like the jokes went on a little bit too long. So when Peter called, "Start imitating a voice," I thought, okay, that's funny for like the first couple of times you did it, but then they did it for a long time.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. They did like they milked that joke a little bit too much, didn't they?
Yeah.
And it got to the point where, is it Chris
Pratt? Yeah.
Yeah, he was just imitating Thor, and they took away the sort of subtle. It just was too in your face at that point, wasn't it?
I mean, if it was like
they should have just like kept it a bit subtle and been a bit like, you're imitating his voice, and then he goes back to his original voice. And
totally agree.
Like, and then for someone like you who watches it the second time, you're like, oh yeah, he totally does do his voice. And like, it's a bit more subtle then, but yeah, it was too in your face, too like. They took it too far there.
And I like the writing of when Thor finds out Gamora is the daughter of Thanos. On paper, the writing's good when Thor goes up to her and you expect Thor to be angry. Because I understand about family and all this. I just felt like that one was really delivered very well. When he's talking about his family then, and he's talking about, my dad was this and my dad was that. I thought that was really sloppy done in comparison to when he's talking about his losses later on with Rocket.
Yeah. I thought that was sloppy as well, that little bit. Because then, and the whole. Well, I could see what they were trying to do. Yeah, they were like. But yeah, I agree. It didn't quite.
But then you could have had a scene where both Star-Lord and Thor, both Star-Lord was trying to replicate Thor and like say, now I've lost a lot more. But that could have been done more subtly later on. I think because we had on the screen, one person was saying one thing and one person was saying another. I just felt like it was a bit too much bickering.
Well, I think
in your face.
Yeah, I think what the film was trying to do a lot, which I think Thor Ragnarok did as well, is that this whole trying to be like self-aware. So like not being so self-aware that it becomes Deadpool, but being like self-aware within their sort of universe and the kind of things that people like would critique. It almost felt like, oh, you're going to critique us for making everything about family, and then so we're going to make a joke out of it. But I think I agree. The payoff wasn't quite there.
Yeah, and then you've got the my favorite character was Groot in Guardians, and I really enjoyed Baby Groot, and like I'd really look forward to seeing Groot in this movie. I was disappointed by
saying like easiest payday for Vin Diesel there, isn't it?
Yeah,
in terms of so you can.
I know there's
say 3 lines over and over.
I don't know how his job, but he does it in all languages as well. This is kind of cool.
Oh, really?
So yeah, he basically all languages they release a film, he learns how to say "I am Groot" in all languages, and so he does every single language. So
maybe not such an easy payday. No, that's quite cool actually. Like, but respect.
In terms of like Groot, the big Groot, it was so nice, and his personality was so nice, and like there's just a little sort of things like he gave a flower to the little girl, and so Chris in the first Guardian is just like everybody watch your wallets, and every single character is looking at how bad these kids are, and Groot is like it's been really nice, and it's just like a nice subtlety, like he sees the world slightly differently.
Yeah.
And Baby Groot is kind of interesting, how innocent, and he sees the world so differently as well, and like, but I just didn't really feel the personality of.
Not a fan of teenage Groot.
No, and I felt like the teenage Groot didn't do the personality of teenage Groot wasn't expressed through Groot; it was expressed through everybody else. Like, I am Groot. And everyone goes, "Oh, whoa, what's wrong with you? What's?" Yeah, I just didn't. And so I was looking forward to Groot was like a special thing. I was looking forward to this movie. Thinking, oh yeah, it'd be good to see Groot back. But yeah, Groot wasn't a good payoff for me, and it directly from the first scene, wasn't a good payoff.
Well, yeah, although I think with the whole axe later on, I thought that sort of redeemed himself a little bit. No, you're not happy about that?
Well, no, I think because fan-wise, it's not happy with that. My favourite comic book is a comic book called Groot, and one time he's getting someone's like injuring him, and he breaks off a little part of himself and he becomes Baby Groot. And then later on in the movie, he needs to attack. He's about to die. He's Baby Groot. There's loads of people on him, and Rocket Raccoon throws a soda grenade at him. And once the soda grenade blows up, loads of soda light comes out, and he just grows into this enormous, monstrous Groot. Thinking, damn, I'd love to see that in the movies. And then later on, they are trying to create this hammer, and basically you've got this sun beaming light directly to make this hammer. But you need somebody.
Well, technically, it's the dying star, isn't it?
Yeah, which is still a sun, right? Well, star is a sun.
True. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So you need somebody that can hold open this thing and possibly absorb the sunlight. Thinking, Groot is here. Oh my God! We just before the big final scene, and Groot we could get enormous monstrous Groot for the final battle. Looks like it's all over, but no, Groot is there just playing his game. It's just like a Thor goes up. I think, now what are you doing, Groot?
Right.
And then.
So is the idea that if he absorbs light, then he can grow big?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
But then I know Thor, and then he sacrifices his arm. I'm thinking, oh, that might be cool. And I wanted to watch the final battle last time because is he just battling with one arm? Because we know from the first Guardians film, we know it takes time for him to grow back his body parts.
Right. Okay.
But in the final battle, he's battling with 2 arms. I was thinking.
He was like extending tentacles at one point.
Yeah, well, I like the idea of him manipulating the earth and manipulating his like nails and fingernails. He can manipulate little twigs.
Like
when it comes to like solid
stuff.
wood.
Yeah.
When it comes to like, yeah, I don't know. I kind of like if he makes a sacrifice, then that says something. But it wasn't really a sacrifice for him to do it. I know. I just felt like every single character in this movie had a purpose, and like I felt like Thor would have got a hammer, would have got something. They would have fixed the hammer anyway, It wasn't like oh no, there's nothing else we could do.
I thought that was the whole thing, that they had to get it done really quickly.
Well, he needed to find the other guy was going to get a hammer.
Was going
to get a handle. Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought there was like a time limit on it, which is why they needed to.
Yeah. Possibly.
That's what I got from it. Was that they had to get the the handle on it before it cooled, otherwise it wouldn't be the weapon that it needed to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But I get what you're saying about the whole sacrifice.
Yeah.
Like some sort of sacrifice.
It just would have been better if the final battle he only had one arm.
Yeah.
But hey ho.
Fair enough.
But yeah, the only times I felt the movie paused and was a little bit annoying was that bit with Thor and Rocket. So the times that Thor was with the Guardians, they were the only times where it just paused. I'm like, oh, we're back on this again. We're doing this again. I don't know. I just felt like I know it's important for the second film.
I get what you're saying. They sort of like.
Yeah.
Why do you know it's important for the second film?
Because the gauntlet at the end is destroyed. So
what?
when Thanos clicks his fingers, and we go back to see Thanos with the gauntlet, the glove is destroyed. It's all shard. It's all. So the stones are intact, but the glove is sort of like.
Eradicated.
Yeah, and basically no human can hold the stone for that long before it destroys them. So if the Avengers are going to use the gauntlet in the second one, for anyone else to use the gauntlet apart from Thanos, they need something that can harness the power. They need a gauntlet, and the only place you can get a gauntlet is a place where Thor got his hammer.
Yeah, and it was convenient that there was one lying on the side. Did you see that?
Did we see a gauntlet, or was it a mold for a gauntlet?
Because
I saw it again, but either one, I think that was specifically there for like, hey guys, remember this for next time. Looks like it's clearly a close-up shot as well.
Yeah.
So
that's quite.
So Peter Dinklage is going to come back next time.
Yay.
And I thought like loads of people are saying like.
He had like one line. I liked how there was one line that he delivered like. And it was really offbeat, but it works so well. Where it was like, "Don't do that,
you'll die.
You'll die."
Only
but,
if it kills me.
But it's like only if it kills me. But then what was this? That's what dying is.
The Holy Order was sort of like, that is what dying is.
That was really good. I thought
And I thought, and loads of people were saying,
he's in Game of Thrones, by the way, James.
Yeah, I know. Loads of people were saying, like, wonder what a tall giant is going to look like if he's like a short giant. I'm thinking, you don't know if that may be a tall giant. We're talking about a different creature. Just because
they called him a dwarf at one point. Are we still talking about?
Oh, did they call him a dwarf?
Yeah, they called him a dwarf. But then it was interesting that. So when you think of a dwarf, you're expecting someone quite small, but he was a dwarf that was like massive. So he's obviously.
Although the rest of his race could be huge.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting. Like I
didn't hear the dwarf bit. So
well, maybe I'm pretty sure I heard that at some point, but maybe we just need to. We need to watch it again just to check that one thing, or to see the whole film again.
I don't think I don't think they concentrated enough on his hands, because they said, "Oh, he may have taken your hands away," and I didn't really realize that they were like two solid blocks, like he couldn't actually move his fingers anymore. Like he couldn't make anything with his hands because. They were just two solid blocks.
Taking them.
Yeah, I am, and so only the second time did I realise. Because. But then.
Were they solid though? I thought he just fashioned some sort of thing to.
Yeah, just like they're like it's like.
Did he just have gloves on?
Like someone has frozen them when they're like his fists are cupped,
right,
so literally he couldn't do anything.
Yeah, right.
And then Thor says, "Your knowledge is in your head, not in your hands." So. Yeah. But they were the moments where the film like paused for me. Everything else was just riveting. Like when you follow like Captain America, when you follow like
good.
I'm like, there's so much to talk. There's so much to talk about. I'm like, we're already like way into this podcast.
Yeah.
So I thought like the cape. I really like Doctor Strange's cape in this movie. They suggested the cape was like a separate character in the Doctor Strange movie, and in this movie, everybody else got to experience the cape as a separate character. So there was a time where.
Sorry, I've got a really interesting question about this, which is where we're going to jump to the end a little bit.
Cool, yeah.
Because I think the end is sort of a bit of a. We may as well just talk about it. Because, so essentially, Thanos. What is interesting about this movie is that the bad guy succeeds in his sort of like goal, which you don't often see.
No.
Which is why I think I had a similar feeling coming out of this film as I did with like Dark Knight. Yeah, because it's like kind of the Joker gets caught, but he kind of wins. Yeah. Like in that film, if anybody succeeds in what they want to achieve, like nobody comes out of Dark Knight like pretty. No. This film kind of has that similar sort of feeling to that. But I have a couple of questions that I don't know if you'll be able to answer, or they will just like annoy everyone. So his thing is that he wants to wipe out everybody.
Half of humanity.
Half, not just humanity, but half the universe to control population, because there's a finite limit on what the universe can take in terms of population. Yeah. And he succeeds in that thing. Yeah. So we see a lot of key characters disintegrating and dying left, right, and centre. Yeah. And it's pretty intense. And so coming back to the Doctor Strange cape thing, does his cape disintegrate with him? And if so, why?
Well, the clothing wise, I got really annoyed. I know people can't come back and then like in the nude, but whatever people were wearing disintegrates with everybody.
I suppose that links in with the matter thing, because if it's like, with the matter stone, he was manipulating matter throughout the film, wasn't he? Like. Yeah. I can't remember which Infinity Stone allowed him to do that. Was it the reality one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I sort of, that for me, I see what you're saying. Like, so the clothes were disintegrating. Yeah. So therefore, Doctor Strange's cloak would disintegrate.
Yeah. Although it's a 50-50 chance that the cloak would have been gone anyway. So you could turn around and say if the cloak has gone as well, then it was a 50-50 chance. The cloak was just unlucky as well.
Yeah, but the cloak isn't a person. I suppose it makes sense that if so in terms of logic and consistency, people were like disintegrating and. Their clothes were disintegrating. If they were holding a weapon, that was probably disintegrating with them.
Yeah, Bucky dropped his weapon before he disintegrated.
Yeah. So I guess that kind of makes sense. Yeah. So that's one sort of question answered. But next sort of potential plot hole. Yeah. So Doctor Strange has an Infinity Stone, which is connected to time. Yeah. Thanos succeeds in his mission, his goal, because he gets that stone from Doctor Strange, and he uses that stone to rewind time.
What do you mean?
So
he rewound to get the Soul Stone from Vision.
Vision has got the stone in his head. Yeah. The woman, I can't remember what she's called.
Yeah, Scarlet Witch.
She is the only one that can destroy Infinity Stone.
Or that Infinity Stone.
Yeah, or that one. Yeah. Okay, that one. Yeah. Let's take that logic. So she destroys that one. Thanos appears. He gets there too late. You think the guys have won. Yeah. There's a big twist. He can turn back time, and then the stone is essentially not destroyed. Yeah. and he gets the stone, so he succeeds.
Yeah.
Right. So this is quite late into the film, right? So my question is if you're Doctor Strange, why do you give up a stone that can turn back time? Why don't you just turn back time?
Because
all the time.
He's been through, but with the Doctor Strange movie, we got to see him turn back time. We got to see him from his point of view of doing all this and trying stuff differently. Okay, we got to see that. In this movie, we don't see it, but he has lived through millions of versions of what could happen. He said he looked into the future. That could easily be just as vivid as acting the future.
Well, this is something that I don't get because, so he's looked at all of them.
He only looked at a few million.
He says that one.
Yeah.
So he's looked at 14 million, and one of those outcomes they win.
Yeah.
So why not just keep turning back time until you win, like Thanos would have done with the stone at the end?
Because Thanos you don't know when Thanos is going to arrive at Titan.
Yeah, but once he's arrived, just turn back time each time that it fails.
But if you get killed before the opportunity to turn back time...
Well, he didn't. He gave him the stone, so he wasn't dead.
Yeah, but also you got to look at the one opportunity. At what point in that one time did he have to give up the stone in order to win later on? It's clear. It was clear to me.
Yeah, but why not say, "Oh, I'm going to give you the stone. Don't kill Iron Man. Turn back time.
Because
try again. Tell
the
Star-Lord not to get all like angry and shit."
The end game isn't now. It's about knowing when the final battle is. I mean, you're suggesting that the final battle is one
theory that I do have. So I'm I've set up my own logic here.
Yeah.
So one theory that I do have that could explain this thing that's been bugging me about the time.
Yeah.
Look at me! I'm still alive. That's my noise for turning back time. In case you didn't.
I totally got it.
Just mansplained that for you.
Yeah. That's
so turns back time. No. So the one what I thought was interesting that is that there was a couple of lines, a couple of things that Doctor Strange said that kind of hinted that it was the only way.
Yeah.
But so that I think is interesting. But what I hope doesn't happen is that's a precursor to we go into the next film and it's like, we just reverse all the 500 million, or well, it would be more than 500 million, or half the universe getting erased because we did this thing with Thanos where we stole the time stone and turned back time and.
Oh, I don't think that's. I think everybody. In my theory, is everybody who died by the Soul Stone can be brought back by the Soul Stone.
Right.
I think.
Okay.
And I think, but the only way I think so basically, I think in the next movie, I think Iron Man is gonna be the one who wields the gauntlet. And I think when he's getting the gauntlet, he'll have an upgrade of his suit as well. And I think he'll have the gauntlet and all the stones apart from the Soul Stone. And he will need to basically. I think that Pepper will his girlfriend will sacrifice herself to save the rest of the universe.
But we don't know if she's survived the cleansing.
I'm cleansing. But this is my prediction. We don't know, but my prediction is
well,
that.
I mean, if she did not survive, if she was one of the people that disintegrated, then that would make sense for me from Iron Man to have motivation to go and try and undo things.
I think Iron Man's got a lot of motivation already.
Well, yeah, I mean, true. But
Spider-Man died in his arms.
Oh yeah, true.
And,
Is Spider-Man his illegitimate child? Is that what that's about?
No, but like in Spider-Man: Homecoming, it's pretty much he is the Spider-Man. He doesn't have a male guardian in his life.
Who's Spider-Man or Tony Stark?
Spider-Man. He doesn't have anyone to look up to. He's always been in secret. Tony Stark is the only person who he properly came out to, and he would trust completely.
Right.
And he's only there because of Spider-Man's only there because of his trust for Tony Stark. I know Tony said go home and try to get him home, but Spider-Man stayed for Tony.
Yeah, but they have got like that father-son sort of relationship going on, haven't they?
Yeah, and Doctor Strange even brings it up because who is this boy? Is he your sibling or is he your mate or something? But it's but yeah. So I think they are going to have to get the Soul Stone back to reverse everything. Someone's going to have to sacrifice themselves that Tony loves in order to get the Soul Stone.
What? Why? What? Because they need to go back to the planet. Surely that's gone now because Thanos has got the stone. The stones don't just magic back to the place that they came from.
I think the Soul Stone will. Because of because Thanos has to sacrifice himself to get the Soul Stone.
So is the Soul Stone the one where he had to kill?
Yeah.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah. I think that will be missing.
So
if someone else tries to get.
So why did he need so the sixth one allowed him to do the cleansing. But is that because because he had all six?
Yeah. So with the other ones, we've seen them all act individually.
Yeah.
But we've not seen what a Soul Stone can do on its own.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, but but again, if you got hold of the time stone and you could sort of work it.
But it's all about at what stage. Okay. So about we're back to the future. Sort of like. At what stage can you defeat him? No matter what you do from this moment, there's no way of actually defeating him in the future. You may need to wait until.
Yeah, but I'm talking about rewind time. Just dial it all back.
Yeah, but there may be no way of defeating him at the moment. He will always win at the end.
Yeah, but I think there was something definitely in there that they were hinting towards that, not to do with the reversing time, but towards the reason that Doctor Strange gave up the stone. Yeah. I feel like that needed. They've either deliberately it wasn't explained deliberately. Either it's leading. There's something behind it that I don't get, or there's a bit of a.
Well, at the moment,
hole there.
Thanos may be too strong to defeat at the moment, but later on, when let's say he doesn't have the gauntlet anymore, he's more. So maybe.
So that's why he was saying this is the only way.
Yeah,
because he was very clear about that.
Yeah,
and so that I guess that makes sense to me now, because. I just it's been sticking in my head, and I've been trying to work out was that just poor writing, or is there a bigger thing going on that we need to think about? But what you're saying about using one of the other stones that maybe makes sense.
I think Gamora and Loki are dead.
Yeah,
they bring them back.
Yeah.
But I think everybody else can be brought back. But I think there needs to be a sacrifice. And I think when Thanos used the gunner, it got destroyed. And so I think the person who you've got to sacrifice somebody to get the Soul Stone again, and the person who uses the gunner will die as well. So my prediction is that Pepper and Tony will both die at the end of the next one. I think one of the reasons why I think that is because it was the only conversation between a couple in the last film. Oh, we might have a baby. We might do this. We might do.
Yeah.
You give you his hope. You take it away.
Yeah. I'd say. Can't remember if there was anything else that I wanted to talk about or ask you about. Like Star-Lord, isn't there something to do with? Isn't he important for some reason?
He's half
wield...
a god. He's half human, and he's able to touch it He's able to touch it. He's not able to die straight away.
Right.
Normally, humans will just die straight away. They'll just blow up.
Yeah.
Like we saw, like it wasn't a human, but we saw someone else try to grab a stone in the first Guardians film, and she just crumpled away completely straight away
Right.
and blew up.
Yeah.
But when Peter did it, he was able to hold on for it for a while, and everybody else joined chains, and so
because I was trying to like
because
I feel like in this film he was a bit like, I thought that in the grand scheme of things, I just thought that the Guardians were a little bit powerless in this film. Like
someone pointed something out. I watched a review, and someone pointed out in terms of like the other two Guardians films, we've not actually had Peter and Gamora actually speak to each other about their feelings and let's be open and honest. We just assume they're sort of a couple in the background, but they're not actually being a couple.
Right.
And so maybe this is the film and only time they've actually admitted that they like each other and kissed each other, and actually there's hope for them to actually be together. I know. I think that's kind of like kind of changed my perspective on Peter a little bit.
Like in some ways, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't if they chose not to reverse anything because of the fact that there's so many like big named actors that to keep them in their films and in the franchise. Like I know they can probably afford it, but do you think they've killed off too many of good characters?
I would agree if it was the other way around. So basically, pretty much all the original Avengers survive, and most of the new characters die.
Yeah.
And so I think if Iron Man, Thor, Hulk,
that's what I was thinking.
Then I agree, but maybe they need to sacrifice themselves for the others.
I mean, that sort of makes sense to me because I was thinking, I was like, well, they've just introduced Black Panther, he's out of it. Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, it's like now that you say it, I'm like, they're all the new characters. Yeah,
and so I think they market.
So they're not like ushering a new era in, are they?
What's brilliant is that we get the next Avengers film. It's going to be like the original Avengers. It's going to be like, and you got able to play up. But with this one, there was no like non-stop relentlessness, and you never really had that much time to stop and have a conversation. The next one is sort of like it's going to be really interesting because they've scaled back everybody, and it's sort of like, ooh, okay, how are they going to defeat the next one? And Cap and Iron Man have to now talk to each other again.
I'm still thinking about the reverse time.
Yeah.
I really don't think that. I don't think they'll do that. I don't think.
What do you mean?
Just because if you reverse time, you undo all of the stuff. It's quite a basic plot idea to resolve situation.
They're gonna. I don't think it'll just be reverse time. I think they are going to bring everybody back, but they also need to kill Thanos because Thanos is strong enough to. Yeah. You can get, but
then if you go back far enough, and get him before he gets the gauntlet.
Yeah, but then you took how much do you sacrifice humanity? When did he get the gauntlet? When did this process start? Well, how are you going to kill him?
But if it's not going to happen,
go back and kill him when he's born, then what events have changed in the future?
Yeah, well, that's the whole time travel cause and effect ripple thing. It's like that's the butterfly effect, isn't it?
Yeah. And so in Doctor Strange, his assistant, who sort of who runs off at the end and says I can't be with you anymore. He understood this. You can't just use time like this. You can't just mess with time like this.
Yeah, right. Okay, that makes sense. So I just need to get over the whole. They're really. My fear is that I'm going to say it now, and then it happens, and I'm going to be really annoyed. So, hopefully, all the people who decide what happens in Marvel films are listening to me right now because our podcast is really popular, and they'll understand that the time travel isn't a good way to go. Let's not do that. That's not
Also forgetting about the end credit sequence.
I was going to ask you about that. Should
Yeah.
we talk about the after credit
Yeah.
sequence?
So
if you walked out the cinema before seeing the after credit sequence, then you don't understand Avengers movies or
this after credit
Marvel
sequence,
movies.
this after credit sequence is quite interesting because this is half cinema like, okay, but what? And the other half are like, yeah.
So what's the excitement? I'm in the what?
So I know there's a movie coming out called Captain Marvel, and it's going to be a new superhero movie, but it's going to be set in the 90s, and it's a hero which has already been on Earth, but no one has really known about except for
hence the pager.
Yeah. And so at the end, basically Captain Marvel is going to interact with the Avengers and help defeat Thanos.
Are you looking forward to that film?
I'm looking forward to it. And also, once you introduce the character to the Avengers, you can't then reverse time where she doesn't know the Avengers and it have to cause another reintroduction.
Sorry, you lost me there.
So, let's say you're right. They get the stone at the end, they reverse everything, and everything's now reversed, and you stop Thanos, and it's all great. That doesn't work. You can't introduce a new hero to the Avengers and then just reverse time at the end and have to plan another way of introducing that character to the Avengers.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, so they're not gonna. It's fine. I can get over it. They're not gonna do the time thing.
No.
But in terms of what's he called? Captain Marvel.
She's called Captain Marvel.
Oh, is it she?
Yeah,
female character.
Yeah,
didn't know that.
Yeah,
see,
so it's gonna be.
See how gendered is that, James? I hear the name Captain, and I assume it's a man.
I didn't want to say anything.
Well, that's on me, James, and I'm gonna have to. Learn from how gendered our society is. That my brain does that automatically.
It's gonna be interesting.
Wrong.
So I'm not trying not to focus on the flaws of David.
Yeah, no, that's fine. We'd be here forever. We'd be here like to the end of time if we focus on that.
What? Everybody's saying like, oh, DC's rubbish and Marvel's amazing. I quite enjoy DC films. One thing with DC films have done very successfully is created a very popular, across all borders, superhero movie with a main female lead with Wonder Woman, and Marvel haven't done that yet. Right. So it's going to be interesting. That's going to be the only film you're going to be able to compare Captain Marvel with is with
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman. Yeah.
Okay.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Like in my brain, I'm just trying to think. Yeah, I suppose. Do you want me to burst your bubble a little bit or not?
No, go
on. I have a feeling, and we can double check on this if you want, but it's being written by the same person who wrote Tomb Raider.
What?
Captain Marvel. Sorry, James.
but yeah, it's I've got faith in the Russo brothers if they're leading this now. Because they directed this film. They directed my favorite Marvel film, which is Captain America: Winter Soldier. Which was a very stripped back spy sort of.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, film. I like that.
I love that film.
Are they taking on Captain Marvel as well then?
Well,
it's not the same director as Tomb Raider as well.
Though. No, they may not be directing Captain Marvel, but now Joss Whedon was sort of in charge of Phase 1 and 2. Yeah. Now Joss Whedon dropped out of Marvel. Right. The Russo brothers sort of like
took over.
Yeah, they did Cap 3, and did Cap 2 with the Cap 3 Civil War, which felt like an Avengers movie.
Yeah.
And now they're controlling these two movies.
Yeah, Civil War was very good. Actually.
Yeah, and they have communicated with the other directors.
Yeah, I mean, what Marvel have done like really well is they've just cracked the nut of like, how do we create a multi-stranded movie?
Yeah.
Successfully. Like, so how do we have lots of different characters in lots of different places, make a film flow, make it funny, sad, happy. They've really, it's no surprise that it's such a popular kind of franchise.
Yeah.
So Okay, all right. So maybe the I won't prejudge. I'll go in with an open mind.
I've got faith in it, and it's also this is your 20th film. Okay, and Marvel have taken some risks. They took a risk with Taika Waititi with Thor Ragnarok, and luckily that was successful. Yeah, and and overall, people enjoyed it. But they could make a flop soon. Captain Marvel could be a terrible film.
I don't. Yeah. Although I think just knowing that where they're at in terms of popularity and I think if there was gonna be a famous last words, but I feel like there's so many people involved now, so much money that if there's any like whiff of a flop, they'll probably bring it back and make changes. I mean, I heard that they made quite a lot of changes to Infinity Wars throughout the whole process. So, like, adding characters into scenes, taking them away, and I think
also a lot of like. I'm not surprised if Marvel planted rumors. There's so many rumors. Silver Surfer's going to turn up. Oh my God, Silver Surfer's going to be in this movie, and oh my God, this character's going to be in this movie, and oh my God, the Defenders are going to be in this movie, and so like so many like things that just. But now you go back to watch the cast interviews, you can sort of tell how much they have spoiled. When you look back at cast interviews and look at the spoilers which they say, it's like there's Mark Ruffalo does this awful spoiler and basically says that basically everybody dies in this movie.
Right.
And like you can see him breaking down in his interview. And on YouTube it was posted 8 months ago, so I don't understand why I've not seen it.
Yeah.
But and it's like, oh, am I in trouble now? Like Don Cheadle's like, oh, I don't know, man. Just don't worry about it. Just carry on.
Yeah.
But yeah, major spoilers. And Tom Holland, his Spider-Man, his spoilers are just ridiculous. Are just absolutely ridiculous. He vlogs quite a lot.
Oh, right.
And so one spoiler where he's like, hey guys, I've just got this package. I'm gonna open it up and I'm just gonna have a look. And he opens it up and he's got the new poster for like the Avengers. Oh my God, this is really cool. Like a face for life. It's really cool. It's amazing. And he clearly opened the box up backwards and he pulls out this piece of paper. And says, dear Tom, I thought you want to have like a first look at this and just to see this, just enjoy it. It's not been released yet. And he turns over the paper and it says like Marvel Confidential. It's like, oh damn. And I hope it's real.
Yeah.
But yeah. All in all, I thought it was a really good film. And there's so much to talk about this movie. It's.
Are there any theories that we need to?
I would say in terms of like 2D. So I experienced it in IMAX, and I've spoken about the advantage of IMAX. I don't really. It's not amazing in 3D. It's okay. I enjoy it. There's some scenes which are more enjoyable in 3D. However, they do something really cool in the movie, which you can only see with 2D. So with 3D, you sort of like. Have I already said this? No, I don't know. With 2D, with 3D, you can sort of see what's going to move. You can sort of see the layers. You are quite distracted by it. And in the battle with Doctor Strange and Thanos, and like and Doctor Strange says, "Don't kill him. I'll give you the stone." And Thanos goes, "No tricks." And he said, "Like, give me the stone." And you can't see this in 3D because 3D is sort of like you're just really distracted. But in 2D, Doctor Strange looks at a star and puts his finger up to the star, and the star turns green, and then turns the star into a stone, and pulls it out from the sky.
Right.
I was thinking, whoa! And it's like he hit it in plain sight, and it was such a really cool sort of thing to do. Because I thought he just pulled it out of the air, like when
I thought that when
Loki pulled out the Tesseract from the air.
Yeah.
But no, the Doctor Strange is really cool. And like I watched an interview, and the interview was saying like, oh, I saw it in 3D and I saw it in 2D, and they talk about this awesome moment. And I saw it in 3D, and I didn't notice the moment, but in 2D, it's clear as day. So like, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like well, I suppose we sort of covered the recommendation earlier, but in terms of a recommendation, like, I mean, I think like it's difficult because we've been focusing so much on like talking through kind of like what's going on, trying to get your head around this film, and I don't think like you know I don't think you can come out of this film feeling great. Like it is like the only feeling, the thing that I can compare it to quite well is because it's a superhero movie. You know, obviously you get this with other types of films, but you don't always expect to come out of a film of a superhero movie and feel a little bit down. Yeah. Like, and this movie like definitely does that in a good way, in a similar way to Dark Knight does. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for somebody who wants to go in and see like action, and then it's all okay at the end. Yeah, everything's rosy. You know, skip out the cinema. Isn't life wonderful? You know, it's not, for me. It's not that kind of movie. It's like brutal. It's intense. It's relentless. And at the end of it, you start to like think about you have an existential crisis about what would happen if suddenly half the universe started disappearing at random.
I would say in terms of like, so there's a few more things that I just didn't say. I realised just all come floating now. Coming to the end, I'm like, oh no, I didn't say this. Thanos does not. I think I already said this. Thanos didn't kill anybody. That wasn't a part of his sort of like his
plan.
With
cleansing.
Yeah,
we're nicknaming it.
And Gamora is the only one he didn't plan for. He didn't like, and like all the others, he's not there. And to him, he's not a bad guy. Yeah. In his point of view, he's not
I think that's quite clever as well. That that this whole plan thing that you're talking about is that also explains why in certain scenes he doesn't kill like characters, because quite often there's a fight and he's just like swatting people away like they're flies, but he has like a massive battle with a group of people, like Spider-Man and that, and at the end of it you're thinking, well, why doesn't he just kill everybody? And like you say, like all the more reason that his sort of plan makes sense then, that he would just like leave people and go to the next planet or world or whatever he has to do. Yeah. So that makes sense.
He's like, and it's sort of like, I don't know, if the Avengers gave up and were to like give him the stone at the end, and he said, wait a second, we just want to get out of our friend. Once we got out of our friend's safe, you can have it. I think Thanos was like, okay, yes. That's fair enough. You can have the time. We'll stop fighting. We'll let you get the stone out of your friend, and we'll take the stone. I know it's Thanos. I always like the idea of like he can be reasoned with, if like he won't kill if he could have killed everybody, but he's not there. It's not his job to kill. He shouldn't be able to decide. And like even when he conquers planets, he doesn't decide. He lets the troop decide at random. He groups everybody up, separates them out, and then whoever's left gets killed. And I kind of like that. He doesn't see himself as a killer.
But that's what like a lot of dictators do, don't they? Yeah. So he's a dictator basically, isn't he? Yeah. Because like Hitler probably wouldn't have thought of himself as a killer.
Friendly guy.
Like, so like.
He probably laughs, and I always try and imagine. Like Hitler, what his personality, his view of himself, and like he's probably like, I love everybody. I love these people. I like to go out shopping. I hang out with these friends.
Go to Waitrose. Go down to Starbucks, get a coffee. Like,
but you think about all these evil people, and you just look at the.
But that's what they do, don't they? They justify. They justify their decisions. Like in their mind, they have clarity, and it's everybody else around them that doesn't have clarity, and that's how they justify their, genocide, which is what Thanos is essentially. He's a dictator, isn't he?
he's seen his world and how his world was screwed up by people not making decisions and thinking, "Oh, I'm not going to let anybody else have it."
Well, yeah, but again, that's like there's that's again what you just is like that justification, isn't it?
There's this film also that is no matter what you think when you think there is a time for a pee break. There's not a pee break. I saw some people.
Although when the credits, I'll tell you what though. When the credits hit, there is enough time for a pee break before the after credits thing. I can guarantee that because I was in the cinema. I needed to go. The person next to me, who we went with, was saying no, stay, just because he wanted to hang out with me.
Damn.
So and then so I could have gone for like about 5 P's in that period, but
there's a bit where Vision and Scarlet Witch first on screen, and people think, "Oh, this is like quite a nice slow moment." Yeah. But then it just hits you with the action
again,
and it's just
again. Yeah, it's relentless.
And it's also with this film. Normally you think, "Okay, someone's gonna die at the end." This film has you believing that someone can die at any moment. Yeah. This isn't like, "Oh my god, the ending's gonna be like."
All the more reason to watch Game of Thrones, James.
Spoilers, not everyone died.
But that's the good. That is why Game of Thrones is great because everybody's vulnerable. Anyone can die at any point. Yeah, you know that. Like,
I should watch it.
Yeah. So is actually, to be honest, watching this film is a similar feeling to watch Game of Thrones as well. It's like. It's great, and you're gripped, and you're like it sucks you in, and it chews you up and throws you out, and so it's just a kind of it's not a safe viewing. No. It's not your typical safe superhero film. It's not your typical popcorn movie. No. It is quite. I think it's got a lot of different layers that maybe it won't get enough credit for. Yeah. Which I think would be a shame if it doesn't. I mean, like,
There's
I think
no nudity in this film, though. Just so you know.
What is that?
There's no nudity. Well, no. It's like Game of Thrones. It's just like Game of Thrones. There's no nudity. Right. So if you're going into it thinking, "Hey, these guys are just like Game of Thrones," there's no nudity. Like,
it's a 12A, so I think that would maybe bump up the rating a bit. But yeah, it's so when you like watching this film is like watching an intense episode of Game of Thrones. Yeah. It's a similar feeling, like you're on edge. Yeah. Like you say, the threat is good. The threat is real. You know that there's a possibility that anyone could die at any point. Yeah. And that they do, like I say, with that, the Hulk bit for me at the start is really, really key because it really does just set up how powerful this antagonist is, and like how you're just like, oh, okay, crap, like when this is not going to go well. No. And I think it's great movie.
I think it's good. I think my opinion of it is not as good. It's not as that with everybody else's. By all means, I had a hell of a time. I thought it was really good. My favourite film still is Winter Soldier. Yeah. Which doesn't rely that much. There's not that much action. However, I think it's just there for me. And this is probably tearing between. I mean, Black Panther. I also love that. I think that just proves that even though I like the action films, I do like my dialogue. I do like my character building. Yeah. Because Captain America and Black Panther are about character building and dialogue.
Yeah. I think that for me this was better than Black Panther. Just personally, and I think.
Well, I've watched.
I'm maybe just like twice. Focusing on the rhinos. Yeah.
but I've watched Black Panther twice. I knew I came out of Black Panther thinking, "Wow, I could see that again a third time." I think I have seen it a third time. I think I've seen Black Panther 3 times in the cinema. I nearly watched it a 4th time the other day. I watched this film twice, and I will watch it again at some point, but only on IMAX. Right. I'm telling you, the difference between IMAX and this film After this, I think you should watch a YouTube clip of them both.
Yeah.
It's just a different experience.
But so I think we need to sort of wrap it up a little bit, because otherwise we'll be here all night. But in terms of a recommendation, like, is yours agreed on what I was sort of suggesting?
Yeah. This is the first movie to go into the Marvel film. This will have people. This does have emotions, all the emotions in it. There's sadness, there's excitement, there's your adrenaline gets rushed, like you were saying, and so it's a good collection of emotions in it. It's a good Friday night. You want to go out and get drunk? You want to watch Avengers? You're a geek at heart. Watch Avengers. Yeah. It's a good. This is an entertaining night out. It's worth the cinema.
Yeah. Well, you maybe need to go for drinks afterwards to get over the sadness of the end.
Depending
on
how.
Maybe.
I've not been in a cinema where someone's really sad yet.
Oh really?
I've not seen anybody.
I don't think it was
down.
Sad. Maybe sad's not the right word, but just a bit well, I mean, maybe it's just me, but it forced me to contemplate, the fact that, just half the universe, just disappearing. It's just
I'm trying to imagine.
It's not like, I didn't put it this way, James. I had to go home, and I felt like I needed to watch an episode of 800 Words to get over. It's like. So my technique is that if I watch a horror film, I don't like horror films, but if I watch a horror film, and especially if it puts me on if I'm uneasy after it, or I just feel like I need resetting a little bit.
Yeah.
So I always try and watch some a sitcom for 20 minutes, half an hour, just to sort of get over it a little bit. And I felt like that a little bit with this film. So maybe sad isn't the right sort of word.
I remember watching a Pokemon movie as a kid, when spoiler alert, when Ash dies, I remember it getting to me. It's like, whoa, this is really getting to me. And obviously he comes back later on and all that, but by God, it got to me. So I can imagine this. I could watch it as an adult thinking, who cares? It's just a cartoon character. But I can imagine teenagers becoming really emotional in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, that's maybe something that I think if I was a parent with very young kids who wanted to see this film, I think I'd err on the side of caution, just because there was a very young kid two seats away from me who was freaking out during this film. Maybe if it was just one kid in the whole cinema, but there was then I could just feel the tension around me as characters were dying, and so I think that's all I'm saying is that it's I don't
I think if you're going as a mother and father and kids, or dad and dad, or mum and mum, I would have one of you agree to go out with the kids if it gets too much.
Yeah.
If you're going as a single
that's
parent,
what I mean. Err on the side of caution, because I think
you may not be able to watch
the
whole movie.
It might be. It is quite intense, and that's all I would say.
Just Batman all over again. Can we leave, Dad? Yes, we can leave.
Right, yeah.
I think Batman they leave the theatre.
Yeah, so maybe stay within the theatre. Don't go to the back alley outside of the theatre. Because
no back alley from the walk home.
Something. Yeah.
Don't know why I just suggested that.
But so don't become Batman.
Yeah.
Don't get your parents killed. Yeah. That's what we're saying.
Becoming a DC hero because of the Marvel film. That's the irony.
Yeah.
But I think it's a really enjoyable time, and if you enjoyed,
I think it's good. I think it does something that the other Marvel and Avengers films, it takes a new step, which is what they sort of needed to do, didn't they? They needed to, and the threat like I say, is there from the start, which is different to what you've maybe seen before.
They're like, no one dies in Marvel movies. Well, watch this movie, and you tell me that again. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I think we're like, what are we up to? We must be quite a long one.
The time
is like a super long special episode of the Avengers. I think we needed it though.
Yeah.
I need to get over the experience in some ways.
Yeah. I know. Definitely.
And but also like talking through it, I think is good. So
we're going to do in the next podcast now, are we?
We need to think. We need to talk. What are we going to film wise? What are we going to watch next week?
Oh yeah, film wise next week. I'm just. We had a whole discussion of it, guys. Yeah. It's not improv. He says while looking at the app
to load up the cinema times for next week.
Yeah. So it's the 7th, right? The
who knows what?
At the end of this week.
I think something like that.
Yeah.
This is like quality podcast gold.
I Feel Pretty.
Right.
Is probably the biggest one, which is an Amy Schumer movie.
Yeah.
We could do that. Or we could do one that's just come out on Amazon Prime if you wanted to. It's one which I know I think we should review at some point. Which is...
You mean to say that you don't want to watch Sherlock Gnomes, James?
Sherlock Gnomes sounds like a classic film. We could watch it, but kids' films are normally on after work. Sorry for just getting into general...
Should we try I Feel Pretty?
Yeah, we'll try I Feel Pretty, yeah.
I think let's do with that, because we want to be current.
Yeah.
And also, I want to get value for money on my cinema card.
If we only talk about half the movie, we've walked out of the movie halfway through.
Yes.
But we'll do a riveting review on the first half of the movie.
Well, I mean, it looks to me, it looks like a Shallow Hal type story.
That Shallow Hal was such a good movie.
Was it?
Well, I remember it growing up. I remember people's expectations of the movie.
Yeah.
And when you watch the movie, and the movie does have heart. Because a lot of the time...
Yeah, to be fair, it's quite a simple... Yeah. It's a simple comedy drama, isn't it?
It's also when you got a film about somebody who...
Is there much drama? No, it's just a comedy, really, isn't it?
I don't know. I think there's some moments in it. I think the ending is he's with the bigger girl. And he's with and usually...
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. But usually in Hollywood, when somebody's like, oh, it's not a good girl. Usually in Hollywood, the bigger girl would have gone off, would have slimmed down, and then she would have met him, and he would have said, oh, this is exactly how I remember you, or something like this. But the fact is, no, he was with the bigger girl, and Hollywood just sort of like Ready Player One, oh, I'm not beautiful because I've got this little scar here. It's sort of like you aren't really looking at how people are really shamed in our society, and you aren't accepting that element that people are shamed.
I think the whole shame about that is that it's played by somebody who isn't actually, it would have been more.
But then again,
genuine.
It's harder for a bigger person to look thin than a thinner person to look big, because I agree it's right to use the same actress.
Right.
So all of a sudden at the end,
so there's
have
a
a completely different woman.
Reason that you're suggesting. Okay.
Yeah. So when Jack Black sees her, he can see the real her behind her. I don't know. I do get that. I do understand that. And if it was a method actor, Gwyneth Paltrow would have put on all the weight, but I can't really ask her to do that.
Well, it wasn't that kind of film, was it? I guess.
No, but that's the only way to suitably get over that.
But this seems like the reverse of that, doesn't it? Which is where there's a girl who's potentially quite not generically or not what society would consider good looking, who wants to be good looking, who then believes that starts to believe that they're good looking through a bang on the head.
It is a shame because of Amy Schumer's shape. It's not even. It's very close to norm. It's very close to norm. It's very close to
exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting and refreshing. I'll talk about what I've heard about the movie after you've seen it.
Okay.
I don't want to affect your views.
All right, yeah.
I've had
Yeah,
some
that's
interesting
good.
things.
I mean, I'm looking. I think could be an interesting. It looks like it is trying to make a commentary about society and the emphasis that we put on looks.
Yeah.
And I think any film, if it does it in the right way, then it could be good. But if it does it in the wrong way, I think it could be really, really bad.
Yeah.
So I think, my looking forward, my prediction is that it could be a bit of a, it could go one or two ways. I wanted to say Marmite film but I don't think it will be that.
No.
I think it'd be more like it could be really good and really interesting in terms of a social commentary on feminism, or it could be really, really bad and just reinforce the things that it's trying to critique. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm hoping to relate to it. In terms of I'm hoping there'll be lots of stuff which I can understand and relate to it, and being a male person, I'm hoping it can be relatable to everybody.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Onwards and upwards.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time. Hopefully, if you want to listen to our TV podcast as well, we're about to do a podcast of Jane the Virgin.
Yeah.
And and if not, we'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
That's bye for me.
Right.
Bye.
Bye.